Said I can't be lit 24/7, yeah. Can't take no before still in heaven, eh? It's gonna take more than flirting to that's why I don't hit you up that much. You gon' have to show me what's love before you just get let in. So I can't be lit 24/7, no. With a pick this big, nigga can't just get up and go. I know you want another hot girl summer, but I ain't finna hop up and hunt ya. I'ma let you drop off that number and let you get the getting.
Yo, what's going on? I may cuss, but I don't curse. Let's get that situated first. What we are about to discuss right now is what the Pisces age did to mankind, just men, all right? The male species. Women, you are invited. Of course, you can still watch this and pick up some game if that's what you choose to do, all right? I'm going to just break this down from an astrological perspective, okay? Now, the Pisces age, if y'all haven't heard my theory, you're going to hear it again. I stay reiterating this so people can understand this. And if you could fact check it all you want, trust me, I wouldn't even said this if there wasn't truth to it. So the Pisces age produced a lot of Aries constructs. It's as the age moves forward, it produces things in the reverse way, in the reverse type of way. Or really as the ages move backwards. This is going to sound confusing, but it'll make sense. Because the ages move backwards, it doesn't move the same way as the planets transit. All right, but as they move the way that they move, it kicks up constructs of the sign that is in front of it. So for the Pisces age, Aries things got produced from it, while things of the Piscean age is being produced. So it's kind of like the Pisces constructs were introduced in a new sort of way, or at the newness of the Piscean age. And as it accelerated or as it progressed, Aries constructs were like, look at it like as a car burning out, right? If you hold the brake and you gas it up and the tires like kick out the mud under the wheels, it's like that would be the Aries constructs kicked out while the Pisces wheels were turning during that age. Hope that makes sense. So as that was happening, we've seen a lot of things like diamonds being the top gem. Aries rules over diamonds. You would see mega, entrepreneurs, heads of CEOs, heads of companies and stuff like that, right? Entrepreneurship is ruled by Aries. You see the military industrial complex. In wars, a lot of wars during the last 2,500 years, which is the span of an age, an eon. War is ruled by Aries as well, right? A lot of warlords. The increase in birth rates means babies. Aries is the baby of the zodiac. Mass manufacturing produced by the Industrial Revolution, right? That occurred during the Piscean age as well. So this is the proof that I would suggest you look for if you're looking to fact check what I'm saying about the ages. All right, and we're in the Aquarius age now, in the very beginning of it, at the tip of it. Pause, because that's crazy work, but we are. And take note of that as I go along with this lecture. So let's go to the Old Testament. Okay, so the Old Testament is estimated to be around like 3,400 years old, something like that, right? The New Testament is estimated to be around 1,900 years old. So remember I said the ages are 2,500 years long, around between 2,500 and 2,600 years of a span, right? Some of you are familiar with the terminology associated with Nibiru and its cycle with the sun. You can piece that together, if you will, as a sidebar or for some homework to apply to this discussion as well. So I'm basing this logic and this theory on the analogy of a 2,500 year eon or age. All right. And I want to highlight this biblical passage, this biblical quote from the Bible, because I think it has a lot to do with how man exerted itself throughout that age, throughout the Piscean age. The Bible being a predominant, not only the Bible, but religious books being predominant catalysts for how man progressed in the last 2,500 years. It was kind of like the guide, if you will. So I take this this passage of Genesis 2:24, which states, "Therefore a man shall leave his father and mother and hold fast to his wife, and they shall become one flesh." Now, when you think about that, well, first of all, Genesis is the first book in the Bible, right? Aries is the first sign. So when you do your homework and you find out about lost books of the Bible and the experiment that took place before Genesis, that precedes Genesis, Gene Isis, if you will, if you know, you know, then you can understand how, there's talks of resets. Like right now, there's talks of a reset, right? This reset would be the reset for the Aquarian age. So if you think back to Genesis being the catalyst for mankind for the Pisces age, you can see how the reset was for man, right? In the beginning was the creation of man. Creation associated with the sign Aries. Creation associated with babies. Creation associated with creativity in general, right? Man being associated with a male principle in astrology, Mars, Aries, right? So, not saying that women are included. Let's not take me on that route right now, all right? I don't want to distort the message. But you can see how the reset is allocated to that type of thing. And you can even see it in the flood, right? With Noah. Oh, we got to destroy all of this wickedness and what's another word? Perversion and etc. By way of the flood. We got to destroy man, right? We got to destroy man and we got to reset it because I don't like it. You know what I'm saying? I don't like what they've become. I don't like how things have transpired. So that reset deals with the genesis, the birth or the rebirth of gene Isis, right? The Isis gene. Some call it the Eve gene. You get where I'm going with this. I know some of y'all may be rattled by this and you don't believe in any type of other books, and those books were removed from the Bible for a reason. And I'm not here to have that debate right now either. However, you can get in the comment section and go off. This passage that I'm quoting, though, is how men, it's a representation of how men have been programmed to basically get out and then latch onto another woman before they even experience a Saturn return, right? That has been the male programming for the past age, for the Piscean age. Get out of your house as soon as you possibly can, or you'll get kicked out. I'm being a little rough around the edges with this, but y'all get what I'm saying, right? Or you'll get kicked out because this process is for you to, some may say, grow up fast. A lot of us have childhoods that we had to grow up fast, right? It's the evolutionary psychology that has been passed down from our predecessors to us that suggests that we do this. We've been hardwired to do this because it's been occurring 2,400 to 2,500 years before we even got here. You understand what I'm saying? So it's all we know in some type of way. It's what we know, right? Repetition, as we know, as like they say, practice makes perfect. So one could view this as, oh, we have perfected the creation of man to at least to how we want it, because they do what the fuck we tell them to do, right? Where's the rebellion? I don't know. Everybody's still doing what the fuck we tell them to do. I don't want to squander this message, but I do need to make my points here and there and get it. You know how I do. So, but with that type of passage and that type of power being delivered in these messages that are the catalyst for man, the guide for man, right? There's a sense of bravado that came attached with that. Oh, I can't be in the house at this particular age. I got to do something with myself. And in order to do that, I have to get out and do what? You have to, like, as a man. All right, well, first of all, let me just say this, right? To be addressed in that way and have that type of pressure on you at such young of an age, like I said, before you even reach a Saturn return. And for those who practice astrology, who study astrology, who are astrologers, you know the significance of a Saturn return. A Saturn return is when you really become an authoritative figure on planet Earth. That's 29 years old, 28 to 30 years old. So what are these young men doing being pushed out between 18 and 21 to latch on to another woman? That's baby behavior. Baby, Aries, baby of the zodiac. It's baby behavior because if you leave your mom and dad just to go shack up with another woman, and this the passage says to latch on. Latch on to another woman who is your wife, right? Some of y'all say, oh, that's a responsible thing to do. That's what you're supposed to do. Think about it. Think about how aggressed, how forward-moving and aggressive that is when you're approaching relationships, when you're addressing relationships. Some of us now understand how that can be sick, right? You got your Me Too movements. You got your SA cases, right? A lot of them go undetected, unsolved, looked over, glossed over, you know. And there's their little things, you know, the little instances here and there where the woman sets this up and that. We have all types of cases, right? Nonetheless, these are types of cases that occur when they do honestly happen based upon aggressive behavior. Oh, you dress like that, so you saying that you want it. No means yes, and this, that, and the third, right? And look, I'm going to just throw Rome out there, right? If you look at old Roman war flicks and stuff like that, Rome's obsessed with wars. At least I know Hollywood is obsessed with Roman wars, right? So in plenty of films we've seen where the soldier becomes this reckless barbarian who, as they pillage the village, bars, they take the women too. There's passages in the Bible that supports that too. Look, I'm a messenger. Go in the comment section and go off though if you feel so. So it's really not a smiling matter. Wipe that grin off your face, right? So you would see soldiers behave this way, and it was sort of like the norm, at least from the perspective of the film being generated, right? They go take a woman for themselves. And you're like, yo, that's wild, B. But now society sheds a light on that, and it's just like, yeah, that's real wild. I'd say the traces of that, it's the traces of it to where it says it goes undetected, it goes unresolved, or other men turn their head the other way and do nothing about it. That's the traces of the Piscean age, of the passivity that allowed the warriors to run amok and do what they did as all of those Aries constructs were kicked up. War after war after war after war, like it's a scene of 300 every year for the past 2,500 years. But see, you got to also remember, in that same process, the Piscean age was being developed, so more spirituality came about, and not for nothing, they intertwined spirituality and war, right? People started raising the Christian banner. Look, y'all got to hold this. Rome, Christians, Catholic, y'all got to hold this, B. It's in the history. Like, go look it up. Y'all got to take these L's, or it is what it is. You can phrase it as it is what it is. It was what it was. But a lot of Christian banners got waved as people was getting massacred. I'm just keeping it a bean. So back to my point, because I don't want to go too far off. It's baby behavior to leave your mom and your dad to latch on to another woman. And we're talking in a societal sense right now. However, you could look at it from a warlord perspective as well, because, as I said, as the brain got hardwired to produce men of that type of caliber, you can see how the aggression did not stop. The speed did not stop. It's like you pump out a baby, you get them out of the house, pump out as many babies as you can. I'm about to get to in a minute. Get them out of the house, get them into the other girls so they can pump out more babies, babies making babies, right? Why did it happen like that? Why did it happen like that? Now, these men were expected to be warlords, expected to be warriors, and expected to be manufacturers. And this resulted in their lifespans being short. And like I said, it was also a forceful way of addressing relationships, right? My mom's about to kick me out. We got to get married. It's like, what? Kid you not, right? How many people got hitched when they were teenagers, right? That was a thing. So let's look at a little bit of history, right? As far as the mortality rate goes. Because remember, I said there was a reset. There's always a reset when the ages come around. So the reset was for the actual gene of man. So just between 1524 and in 1524, the life expectancy for a man was between 25 to 30 years old. Think about this for a minute. It was a high infant and child mortality rate, limited medical knowledge. Medical knowledge is ruled by Pisces and Virgo. So remember, Piscean age, but the medical knowledge was limited because still more Aries characteristics is being produced while the age at hand is being learned. It's being discovered. It's a better word. You understand what I'm saying? So the medical knowledge wasn't there in 1524. There was frequent breakouts of diseases. All right. Now, 1624 comes around. That age increased to between 30 and 35 years old for the life expectancy of men. There was gradual improvements in sanitation and hygiene. Hygiene is also ruled by Pisces. But you could say, again, Pisces and Virgo. Virgo, 6th house rules over hygiene. The routine of grooming. And also in 1624 was the development of some basic medical practices, right? And I could go into depth and details about how holistic that was, but I'm not going to do that right now. So I guess you could just say an example would be like if you could look at how cocaine was used in some types of medicines back in the days, right? They had it on a label and everything, like straight up, it's coke in this, nigga. You know what I mean? Type shit. It's amphetamines in this motherfucker. And things was like, well, let me rub that on my elbow type shit. And then they hit it in like colas. Okay. I'm doing too much. In 1724, the life expectancy increased for men from 35 to 40 years old. There was an advancement in agriculture practices, leading to better nutrition. The inoculation for smallpox emerges. All right. 1824 comes around. The life expectancy for man increased from 40 to 45 years old. The Industrial Revolution brings improvements in living standards. Public health measures start to be implemented. All right. So now I'm going to pause for a moment here because the Industrial Revolution has a lot to do with the acceleration of the baby making, right? Well, we need to populate a workforce in order to build these buildings and, build these warehouses and manufacturing systems that can expedite goods and services so we can expand across the world, right? So Industrial Revolution has a lot to do with this. We'll be back to that in a moment. 1924 comes around, life expectancy for a man reaches 5 to 55 years of age. Remember, this is 100 years ago, just 100 years ago. Life expectancy was 50 to 55 years old. Breakthroughs in medicine like antibiotics, you know what I mean? You get burned, get some penicillin. That's not funny. Why am I doing this? But you get what I'm saying, Rob? Also, the improvement of hygiene and sanitation in cities, right? The plumbing, the sewage systems, and things of that nature. And I'm not saying these things didn't exist. I'm very curious and very excited to see those TikTok videos when they start talking about the old world in Lemuria, I think is the place, or that place in Russia or whatever the case may be, Titarian or something like that. I'm butchering the words right now, but y'all know them videos I'm talking about, right? Like with so much is going. We're gonna get to that at another time, though, because it makes you think, right? It should make you think. Are we that primitive? Well, if we're a baby as a gene, as a species, because Pisces kicked up Aries constructs, we've got to be infants. But I'm not saying it was always like that, is my point, right? There's cycles, beards, loops. Nothing new is under the sun. Everything an inventor has invented is something that's being rediscovered. At least I'm under the impression of that's how it goes, right? 2024, life expectancy of a man reaches 78 years, and this is globally. Modern medicine and healthcare advancements increase access to clean water and sanitation. And it's still continuing across the globe because some places don't even have clean water, right? So, that just gives you a glimpse into what I'm explaining, what I'm describing here, and how I'm making my points about what the Pisces age did to man. Like, it's just this acceleration process that takes place. I'll get to clarify more in a bit. So let's get back to the Industrial Revolution. It began in Great Britain between 1760 and 1840. All right. And it started in America in like 1793. And the first water-powered cotton mill was established in Rhode Island. Ain't that about by a British textile worker named Samuel Slater, if you want the specifics on that. All right. Now, at this point, right, you could say, oh, slave race. We could bring up slavery and all of that. I'm gonna steer away from that as well, just so I can make a more objective point here. All right. We could look at it as a more bigger picture here. If it's a species, it's slavery of a species, of a gender, and that's the male species. It's the male gender. Now, I'm not saying women didn't have some part in this, right? Especially if you're forced to be, went right back to slavery. Not even just slavery, but if you're forced, like, right, fixed marriages and stuff like that, hand over your daughter to my son and we're going to have them procreate by force, right? So there was all types of scenarios and situations where women were put in positions and jams that they weren't consenting to as well. Even in religious texts and constructs, they say, well, no, you can't marry her, the woman that you love or got the hots for, because it says here in the Torah or whatever book I'm looking at that's not going to be good for you. And some astrologers got involved. People don't want to talk about that stuff, but yeah, it looks at the stars like, y'all might be passionate and be good at sex, but y'all might be terrible at handling business and actually taking care of a family. So no, it's out of the question type shit. But you could look at the gender as a slave species. The man, worker bees, beehive analogy, all working for the queen bee of the colony. You understand what I'm saying? As soon as you sting them, you die. So it's like, yeah, go and breed and then die. Build these castles, build these buildings, go to war for us, make the babies, leave the women and the children, they're off limits, right? And then go die. Right. So again, it takes me back to how it was an experiment from the beginning anyway. Gene Isis. Right? So what happened? What happened to the men? What furthermore happened to the men during the Piscean age? Well, the Aquarius age is at hand now, right? So the Aquarius age is producing Pisces constructs the same way that the Pisces age produced Aries constructs as the Aquarius age builds. So at the edge of the Pisces age is when we seen men starting to really go their own way, aka MGTOW, right? And even I can attest to this. I'd say about between 2007, 2008 for me is when I really started being on my own as a man, as an individual unit. I'm saying on my own as an individual, like not latching on to a woman, right? Not moving in with a woman or just living together with not doing that anymore. You know what I mean? I've been to that stage. I had to sit down for a minute and work it out. Like, you know what? Something ain't right about that baby behavior. It is what it is. Y'all, I'm calling it what it is. I'm keeping it a bean. Something was not correct about that baby behavior that I was hardwired with, that I was, under the impression was brave and being a protector and it was baby shit. It was baby shit. So I started getting out of that around 2007, 2008. The new age, according to the Mayans, according to the Ethiopians, began in 2012, 2014, I believe, for the Ethiopians, or 2013, something like that. And 2020, 2021 for some Americans. Some Americans tap in with the 2012 ideology. Others don't. Others believe when the pandemic occurred, that was the offset for America because America is 7 years ahead of Ethiopia. You check the time. I'm not making this shit up. So it appears that the acceleration of baby making during the Pisces age only supported mega leaders, right? mega CEOs, like I said. So what happened to the rest of these babies that were made? They had to fall under the guise or the leadership or the direction of this mega CEO. And for a long time now, it's always been this race for the top. And like they say, talent rises to the top. It's bullshit. I'm just keeping it a bean. I don't mean to be a Debbie Downer. Please listen to what I have to say. When things are programmed in a particular way and they happen the way that they happen, you must question it, right? Why and how do you have mega leaders in charge of so many people, right? Again, you could take religious texts. The sheep herder leads the sheep, doesn't let one go astray. That's just how they felt on the plantations. Oh, he trying to run? He trying to hop the gate? Toby, shoot him, right? Hop your ass back here. You're not letting nobody go. The same way that people say, oh, the country trying to lock people in the country, right? What you trying to get a passport? You trying to get dual citizenship? Slap a felony on that nigga. Fuck you think it's going? Right? So they only supported mega leaders, but now we have a bunch of micro leaders, right? As the age shifts, now we have a bunch of micro leaders. Probably how the universe intends for us anyway, intends for Aries energy in general. It's just it got perverted, accelerated, and done that type of way because Aries is a competitive sign, right? So I'm saying perverted. I'm probably using the wrong verbiage when I say that. It was a moment in time that things happened the way that they happened because of the signs of the time, right? Aries is a competitive energy. So that eventually there's going to have to be one leader of the pack. There's going to have to be one general of the military. There's going to have to be one president of the nation. There's going to have to be one king of the nation, of the monarch. Because that's Aries energy, and it will want to compete in order to assert that. And if not, there's going to be bloodshed. There's going to be jealousy. There's going to be war. There's going to be like, oh, I can do that too. A lot of poking out of the chest. And it's real. It's a lot of baby behavior because you're just learning. It's like the beginning stages of life. And when you look at the span that it takes for babies to begin crawling and then walking, you see how short of a span that is? That can be associated and related to Aries energy of what I'm describing right now. Like, but there's so many years after that, right? That you got the whole walking thing down packed and you know how to balance your feet and everything. But now there's so much more to life that you wake up one day and you like, hey, yo, there's more to life than this Aries shit. The fuck? We've been on baby mode for how long? All right, we got to learn some new shit, right? So I'm not saying it wasn't supposed to happen. It's just a lot of treacherous shit that went on. You know, a lot of bloodshed, a lot of war, as I expressed. But now we have a case of where there's a bunch of micro leaders, which are men. And like I said, probably how the universe intends for Aries energy anyway. And we're in a different age now. So to be in an age that supports independence and freedom, the micro leaders are set free from being led by one leader that was propped up. And you could even say, in some cases, artificially, but I would say more by way of investment, because Aries rules over investment and entrepreneurship. Well, rules over entrepreneurship, which inevitably has something to do with investment, right? Oh, that's the one right there. So let's pile our dollars into them. They're going to lead the way. Even if they're a reckless, impulsive leader, which a lot of mega CEOs were and are. Let's just keep it a beam. I'm going to get to that in a second too, right? So we're in an age now, before Pisces age, passive, let them go. The result is going to be the lesson of the wisdom that we possess, and we try to tell them anyway, like in your tabernacles and shit like that. Listen, I don't think you should do that because it's going to result in this, and then it ends up happening, and then the generals are just like, well, the rabbi or the clergyman, the men of the cloth, those religious people, they said that this shit was going to happen, and it came true. But you just had to see for yourself type shit, right? These micro leaders have independence and freedom at hand now. They don't have to go that way in order to be fed, right? In order to get the rations, in order to get provisions for them, right? Women aren't the only one that have been provided for during the Piscean age when men were at war and building all of these things, right? You got rewarded rations to eat and have a roof over your head for building the castle, for building the buildings, right? That's how you sometimes you get paid in food, you get paid in resources. It's kind of like, the welfare system. It's kind of like that. It's kind of like that. And has been for some time. So now with this whole wide population, before it was increase the population, right? Now there's worries and concerns of a decreasing population. Not only that, you have some people in the world who'd rather that. They don't want so many people around anymore because they feel there's no use for it because they have reached a peak in the advancement of technology or in the industrial revolution to where now they're like, oh, we got technology to this peak level to the point where we don't even need so many people anymore. I'm just keeping it a bean. I know how this shit sounds, y'all. But shit, how many dystopian movies have you watched up to this point? But those men are still babies in many cases and have no experience being actual men. They have this evolutionary psychology that has been passed on to them, right? And it was for the purpose of breeding, and not only that, but breeding a workforce, right? So what do you think the beginning of that new man or the infancy of that new male tribe or species is going to look like? It's not going to look like they have all of the answers. It's not going to look like they have it figured out. It's not going to look like they know how to handle women and be these, these weird science men that are made in computers. You know what I'm saying? Even in the imagination of a lot of women, society in general. It wasn't even, man, we weren't even wired to breed families. We weren't. That's some shit that started in the 50s when they started making suburban areas and all. That shit is brand new too. You know what I'm saying? I think that came more with America. America is a cancer, y'all. Look it up. I'm not bullshitting you. Independence Day is 1976. What is that? July something, right? It's a cancer date. But what am I trying to say? Where was I? Yeah, they have no experience men have no experience being actual men. They just have experience being laborious, laborious warriors and aggressive, violent men. Just keeping it a bean. Sure, you got your intellectuals and your sciences that came out of that. You're always going to have that sprinkled around, but majority rules, right? So you got these laborious, violent babies pushed out of homes to populate another home for the purpose of breeding a workforce. Bottom line. Not for breeding families, for breeding warriors that have not adapted to the injection of technological advancement that we have at our fingertips right now. Some men, period, are just still not tapping into that. You know what I'm saying? In context, they on crash courses. They don't even want to hear it. A lot of youth is still, you see a trace, right? I'm talking about traces of 1524. Males between the age of 25 and 30 perishing. What did they perish from back then? Limited medical knowledge. Frequent outbreaks of diseases. A lot of these diseases are mental diseases. The limited medical knowledge comes from the lack of applying technological advancements. But yeah, you see these crash courses and you see the traces of man not being able to develop as a man, but just babies. Just babies having babies, yo. And not for nothing. And I don't want to put too much on women right now because this is not about the women. It's not about the ladies, y'all. Like I said, y'all could come here and soak up game from this. I appreciate you for being here. But you got to understand. I'm going to get to that in a minute, right? So as this continues, the Pisces age, constructs of mental health take center stage, as you see, And on one end, and this is Aquarius age that I'm talking about now, right? But now we're kicking up Pisces constructs. So mental health is ruled by Pisces, is ruled by the 12th house. Now I said mental health. There's two sides of a spectrum to mental health. Like I said, you can have sit-downs, get discussions, therapists. And that's not the only way. That's one way. But you can do meditation. You can isolate. You can move. You can join a club, a tribe, do hobbies, pick up gardening, whatever, holistic remedies, all types of stuff. But it's mental illness nonetheless, and there's two sides of that spectrum. And what we're seeing is there's a stigma on the irresponsible, drug addicted, also ruled by Pisces, drugs, acceleration of drug usage, criminal, lazy, uninspired youth that are also stigmatized for being celebrated in certain pockets of culture and nations, society, because they're able to breed still, right? The breeding, hardwired of breeding, leaving mom and dad to go latch on to another chick's tits and pump babies inside of her and do the whole thing all over again when we're in a new age. Like I said, traces though, right? This is the traces still left over. They haven't diverted from the hardwiring that has been passed down from their predecessors. They're still locked in that loop, if you will. But still there are some areas of culture where they're being celebrated for that. Stigmatized, there's another side of the spectrum is that as well. To where there's a stigma placed on the other end of the spectrum for MGTOW men, right? The soft man era, drizzle. Fuck is you talking about? The manosphere. Men being called sassy now for having standards, right? Like, you know what I mean? Instead of being reckless playboys and pornographic man whores, which you would be praised for and celebrated for in the manosphere or by men, right? Even by ladies, even by women. Oh, I want to fuck him because the other bitches want to fuck him. I want to fuck him because he fucked her and her and her and her and her. Like, this shit truly exists. So there's stigma put on the man who takes the more spiritual, holistic, go with the flow that's on a higher frequency if you can. It's Pisces shit, right? The better side of Pisces, not the drug addicted, spiraling out of control, devolving victim Pisces shit. It's the other side of that. Oh, there's this medical information afforded to me. There's these holistic practices I can do. There's a such thing called spirituality that I could tap into. Oh, let me go that route. Doing tarot reads and stuff like that. Stuff like I'm doing right now. This is not looked at to be man-like if we're looking at the last 2,500 years at least, right? But if you go further, you read about the shamans, you read about the religious leaders of the tribes and stuff like that, spiritual leaders of the tribes and stuff like that. You're going to hear about some men. I don't want to get off of this topic, though. I don't want to get off, Let me say what I need to say. But my point is, embodying the spiritual qualities of the Pisces sign is frowned upon in some instances and praised in others as well. Oh, I know chicks that be like, oh, I'm so glad that men are doing tarot now. Like, I like to come see you and so-and-so. They tell me other men that they go watch and listen to. I'll be like, oh, okay, yeah, I've seen their readings before too. You know what I'm saying? It's like we're getting along. I'm not competing. It's not no Aries thing. You understand what I'm saying? It's like, okay, I could see that. I could see how, you know what I mean? But they're appreciating it. Guys too. Guys be telling me too, yo, I'm glad that I could see somebody like that looks like me, not only shade and color and ethnic background, but also a man doing this as well. So, but like I said, it's a double-edged, you know what I'm saying? You got your stigmas that go one way and stigmas that go the other way for both sides of the spectrum. What else is happening to the men? Or what happened to the men and what's happening now, I guess you could say, catching up to now. Well, the corporations / large institutions also ruled by Pisces, right? We're in Aquarius age, kicking up Pisces constructs. Well, it looks different now, or it's going to look different now, as things like CSR get implemented, corporate social responsibility, into the practices of these corporations. So it began around 2010s, CSR was a big thing being spoke about then. Bars are nice, right? But now you see the environment getting incorporated more into these corporations, right? Like, what are the carbon emissions and what's the carbon footprint and things of that nature? How's the waste? You know what I mean? Is it green? Is it environmentally friendly? You see these terms? They're all Piscean terms. Pisces rules over the environment. So, my theory is not incorrect. Again, y'all can go fact check what I got to say about these ages. I'm telling you. But it's changed now. The face of corporations are changing. It may be a bit gradual. Anything that's going to be Capricornian is going to be gradual. But it's happening. The bonus culture is being exposed. That also began getting more emphasis around 2010s. So the bonus culture is basically an impulsive action that takes place inside of corporations that is reckless. And what the CEO does is they get one of their wingmen to do that action and they pay them bonuses for doing it. So it could be something, and I'm not going to say simple, but merely as telling 5,000 people through an email that they got to go home. Might get a severance package, you might not, but it's over today. It's over. And although that may be seen as unethical, the person who did the decision or carried it out for, it could even be the board of directors, but the CEO had that word, bet believe, say, yo, execute that, handle that. That person would get a bonus for doing it because that quarter is going to look more profitable when the profits roll in because they got to cut the labor force so short. You understand what I'm saying? At the end of the day, for these major corporations, don't get it fucked up. It's about profits for their shareholders. If you're an investor, you understand this and you appreciate it. If you're not, and you're on the other side of the spectrum only, you don't appreciate this. If you just got a humanistic bone in your body in general and an investor, you don't like this. You like motherfuckers like Costco. You don't like other motherfuckers like, I ain't even going to say the ones that I don't favor. You can get in the comment section and type it yourself, or you could just keep it to yourself. It ain't no need to. It's the Aquarius age, y'all. Everything gonna get lifted anyhow. There's no running from it. There's no running from the watcher. But that's what bonus culture is. Now that's being exposed to the point where it's like, oh, word, you did that? Everybody's not feeling that no more. And you keep hearing about these layoffs, and now people will be like, you know what? I think I do like the moms and pop stores. I think I will go out of my way to go shop at the mom and pop stores. Others are just like, I understand business. I understand we're in the Aquarius age. So I'm going to still invest in these companies and I'm still going to still purchase from these companies because they run more efficiently. They know what they must do. It's not an easy thing to do. But the point there is to not be rewarded, or should I say, it's just to be knowledgeable on how bonus culture works, right? An impulsive action within a corporation that is for the purpose of accelerating and improving profitability. And that is Aries energy, an impulsive action. Even if it was designed to be that way, somebody might have manufactured the decision, it's still going to be done and implemented by Aries energy. That's just going to be like, what do I got to do? It's a soldier energy. It's a baby energy. What I got to do? What you said I got to do? All right, I'm going to do it. And I did a psych study back around in 2010s that proved fast decisions and fast action inside of the workforce is rewarded with cash. Now, I don't remember exactly which one it was or what the title is, but trust me, I didn't forget that particular paper that I did for a reason. It stuck with me because I learned a lot from it. And not for nothing, I have examples of my own life to where that is true. And I also was in college for myself. At that time, I was tutoring for people in psychology. But at that time, I was in college for myself in business. And I did studies and papers on companies that did the same thing. And that's how I learned about bonus culture. And no, they weren't from companies that are 30, 40, 50 years old. There's a lot of these gurus who try to steer you away from education says these are companies that were in the mix during that particular year, or maybe 1 or 2 years before that. I don't know where all these other people going to college at, or where these people come up with these ridiculous ideas that the education system is old. No, it's not. It's just being exposed, and nobody likes that. Just like nobody likes a college educated student coming out of college and going to their company. No, they're not going to hire you. Now, that is a mistake of college students, I would definitely say. If you went to college to go work for somebody, that was a mistake. Who's going to hire you when you know all about them? They can't continue doing business the way they were hardwired to do, with this bonus culture and this mega CEO culture. They don't want you there. You learned everything about them, the ins and outs, the pros and the cons. You got to go make your own, buddy. Sorry, not sorry. Now you see a lot of stepping down of the CEOs. Am I right or wrong? There's a list. I got it somewhere archived. There's a list of them. Reason being is the signs of the times. Aquarius age kicking up Pisces constructs. There has to be some type of peace and equality and what's that term? The love, unconditional love. You can't just do that. You can't just go around doing that. And now look, previously, right, that's the manly thing to do. Yeah, send them home. Right? Get a man to go in there and say, look, everybody go home. Sorry to say, but don't come to work next week. It's over. Some people, right? Mental health, remember, some people come back and they destroy the place. Right? Some people come back and they wait for that person to come outside. It's supposed to be a safe environment. Yeah, well, you made it unsafe by not giving people, you tell us put in our 2-week notice, but you just told us over an email to not come back. Somebody about to get up with you. Don't get any ideas, y'all. I'm just saying it's happened before. Do the research. I'm kidding. I'm not kidding. But like I was saying, before that were looked at as manly, to be like, yo, take it on the chin, take it on the hop. Like, yo, be tough. You just get fired every day. You be all right, right? Go get another job. Go get unemployment. Go get another job. And it's just like, yo, there's a such thing called as being displaced. Like you can actually, there can be lawsuits brought up behind shit like this. You get displaced out of your community. You get displaced out of your home, right? It's supposed to be a such thing as job security. Where it's at. If people can just come in and do that and get compensated very well for doing so, that's not looked at as manly anymore. Shit getting shaken up, right? So the definition of a man is changing, or it's probably always been what it is or what it was. It's just Pisces age let the babies take over. Pisces age was passive enough to let the babies, the airy energy take over, right? The pitting of the young against the old against the young, right? When that young energy comes swooshing through, you can't tell it nothing, right? It's not until they reach a Saturn return, if they can, right? God willing, that they, like I said, they start understanding like, oh shit, it's more to life than this airy shit. Oh shit, responsibility. Oh shit, if I had started doing that in my 20s, I gotta start now at 35. Oh shit. Yeah, it ain't all about you. Aries is a self sign, a selfish sign. It's just about the self, right? The self-esteem, the self-motivation, self-efficacy. But like I said, that impulsive decision was rewarded. All right. And when this cash incentive, when you're going to be incentivized to do things like that, the more you're going to do it. And like I said, this spills over into the other pockets of society and culture to where every element of humanity understands that concept that speed gets rewarded with cash. So it seeps into pockets like crime. You understand what I'm saying? Fast money, drug dealing. Oh, I got to wait till the end of the week to get paid? Nah. Sell crack. Again, I'm not giving you any ideas. I'm just telling you how it is and how it was. Another thing is drug addiction and the consumption of it. And on the other side of the spectrum of that is alternative medicine. Both ruled by Pisces and Virgo. We could have a debate about which is more leans to which at another time. But it's at hand during this Aquarius age. It was at hand during the Piscean age, but again, it's traces of building through the Piscean age. So you've seen how pharmaceuticals grew to the level it grew at towards the end of the Piscean age, right? Still traces of it going on. We see that, we hear of it, but more revelations, Aquarius, truth bringing, right, has been brought to the forefront around that now as well. It hasn't been veiled as it was. And these days, or in this age, you are able to determine the type of man that you are dealing with by the decisions they make in relation to medicine, drugs and medicine, food, substances, and things of that nature. Right? Because previously, all men were taught to be red meat-eating carnivores. Let's just keep it a being. Savages. Right? Slaughter the pig and eat it whole. Rooted to the tutor. What the fuck? Just keeping it a being. Now, in context, ladies and young men watching this, whatever age you are, it doesn't matter, right? The more mature ones as well. We are all learning what a man is and what a man is supposed to be and what becoming one is, right? Some of us, we still, I don't care what your age is, we're still not men. There's still some things that got to be learned and acquired because we are not wired, bars, to do it. Maybe in past lives beyond the Aries constructs being kicked up in the Piscean age, but which of us are tapped in well enough to access that information? You know, maybe some of you are, maybe you'd like to share, but if you haven't, I know as far as my dreams go, my abilities to tap into the records may have went back a few hundred years to when there was tribes of indigenous people in New York. I was in New York hundreds of years ago. Oh, there's also, I've been to Europe, England to be in particular, I believe, Paris, London, around that area. Can't tell how long ago it was though. I think the indigenous trips that I've taken have been more historical than the ones that were European. We're still learning it. And we are also embracing that we knew what it was to be a man. Some of us knew what it was to be a man. It just wasn't in style. You get what I'm saying? And for some of us, or a lot of us, it still isn't in style. As a matter of fact, it's even more of an emphasis put on how much of being a man is not stylish at all. Because of what women are doing. And I know that sounds awkward. That sounds a bit like, nah, that don't sit right with me. Why you say that? How you gonna say that? They ain't got shit to do with us. Think about it. Think about it, right? You can see why women are so comfortable now speaking on what a man is, what a man is supposed to be, how a man is supposed to behave. Over the past, I can't say over the past 2,500 years, but I could say publicly they've been doing it as long as televisions have been at our access, right? Not since its infancy, but definitely at the tip poles of the Aquarius age, where freedom is at hand. You see women speaking publicly more freely about what they believe a man is supposed to be. And they have a lot of examples to go off of, right? Well, this man did like that, and that case versus the state is such and such, and this, that, and the third. And, you know, a lot of stereotypes, film, media, all of it plays a part in how men are stigmatized or how men are perceived. And not only that, they've been stuffing their tits in men's mouths for the past 2,500 years. And I mean this even for the providers. Y'all not getting out of this like, oh yeah, but some men who are really men, they're providers. So no, you've been getting tits stuffed in your mouth too. Look, the providers, y'all not doing y'all laundry. I'm saying y'all because, like I said, I've been on my own since 2008. So I've been carrying it like that. You know what I mean? Still dealing with women off and on, here and there and all that. But me, the tits have been removed, you know? I don't need you to do my laundry, ma. I don't need you cooking shit for me. I don't need you fucking ironing shit for me. My pops was a tailor and a seamstress. My grandma was a seamstress on my pops' side. I got all that shit in my blood. I don't need none of that shit. I'm saying that shit adamantly. I'm passionate about it, right? Because this is what happened to men, y'all, during the Pisces age, B. And we wasn't born with it. You know what's ironic about that shit? We were born with it. Like, I remember being a little boy going to see my pops at the cleaners. He used to work at the cleaners a lot of different times. He would work at different cleaners and shit like that. So everything was always pressed, creased, slick, sleek looking. You know what I mean? Sharp, hemmed. You understand what I'm saying? But it's like somewhere along, I ain't gonna even get too deep into that. But I felt that I needed to say that, right? Because there's this division between men, like I said. Some would argue that going your own way is sassy. Some would argue that going your own way is the manly thing to do. Others will argue that being a provider is being a man and the manly thing to do. Others will argue you're a simp and it's only about a matter of time, homeboy. Right? We got our positions. But my point there is that the providers, y'all not doing y'all laundry. Y'all going to work all day, every day, and y'all come home. Y'all not cooking. Shorty cooking. Shorty doing the laundry. You might make the game day of the kids, but you're not getting in that soccer van for practice, B. Keep it a bean. You're not going to the soccer van for the practices, B. You show up at the game if you can make it to the game. That's when dad or the provider wants to come through. Right? Oh, where's your dad? Where's dad? Where's dad? Oh, he's at work. He not coming to practice? No, he's at work, but he gonna make it to the game, baby. Tits still shoved in your mouth if you can't wash your drawers, B. I'm just keeping it a bean. You can argue with me about this shit if you want. Get in the comment section. Go off. Now, I believe we're in the age of the bicentennial, man. And whatever the opposite of that is, or the stage where it devolves, right? There's a fine line drawn now of what being a man is and what not being a man is. Till next time, I'm out.